What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on the WRX. We are finally putting in a new oil cooler, or not a new oil cooler, a oil cooler. And this was my birthday present for my wife, and it took so long to get here. Now, oil coolers are incredibly expensive, and Mishimoto is usually the main one that does it. It's about like 500 bucks, and I just really didn't want to spend that much money on an oil cooler when you can basically piece one together for a fraction of the price, and it's just as good a quality, and it's going to do the exact same thing. So, it comes nicely packaged like this, and in here you got thermostat, some fittings, bunch of crap, and obviously with this car, this wouldn't fit. If you look at this little lip here, this won't, sit in there properly. So we had to buy a second sandwich plate. Going to the Sousa or whatever. Super nice quality. So that's basically going to sit inside there, and then this is going to come up like this, and it's going to sit on top of it. Open up oil cooler here. Look at that quality. It's so sick. I think it's an 18 row G Performance Plus, whatever that means. Whatever, it's going to do the exact same thing. So that little beauty's we're gonna figure out a way to mount this. That's the only issue we're coming into right now. But we'll hit that when we get there. And then last but not least, this was what really shocked me the most. The quality on these lines, look at those. I mean, feel the fucking quality of this.
Good stuff right there.
It's not going to cheap out on you. So this whole kit with the sandwich plate was around, I want to say 150, maybe 160. No, this was 117 by itself. Sandwich plate was 50.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't need that second sandwich plate, it only costs you about over 100 bucks. But because we needed the second sandwich plate, around 160, 170 maybe max. But an oil cooler kit from Mishimoto will cost you $600. So the one thing you do need to check before you start going crazy, you need to make sure that this thermostat will match up with your oil filter. And we got super lucky, and it fits perfect. I'm going with the screw one. Matches right up. It's going to fit flush. It's going to be great. Nate had an issue with his.
So 2000. Didn't work out.
Yeah, so obviously when you do a piece by piece kind of deal like this, you do come into the situations where it's not completely universal, but in this case we lucked out. We're good to go, and we're going to start getting going in this. All right, so the first thing you got to do here obviously is take these coolant lines off. Just use your pliers obviously, because we have to join these together. So after that, we're going to start taking this oil filter bolt off. It's 24 millimeter. You probably have to go to the store to get it, like us. It actually broke pretty quick.
It did. Constant lubrication.
True! Perfect. So, boom. Here's your old thermostat. Coolant! So we're going to replace this whole thermostat here. Okay, so like I said, when you put things together and you don't buy an actual kit, coming into some crossroads and some roadblocks and all that good stuff. Basically what we were trying to do was to have this be our mount into the plug. The Sousa being basically the spacer, because this lip on the old thermostat really doesn't do anything. It just
Catches the oil.
Yeah, so basically when we had it all together, it didn't, this was just spinning. The new thermostat was just spinning like this on top of this. So this setup didn't work. So what we're going to try to do is modify the cooler here so the actual thermostat can sit on here. As you can obviously see that lip. I think we're just going to cut this lip right here and see what we can do. So, not ideal. Possibly a temporary setup. Who knows? But we made it work. Nate cut both sides here. We bended it down a little bit, cut it off again, cleaned it up real good so the thermostat could sit. Everything is tight. Everything is exactly how it's going to stay. We're worrying about our plugs right now. We were worried about the hood clearance. You can see this little mark here. This is obviously for an inch of play here. It like rests on top of it, but it doesn't really affect anything crazy. So I think we're going to be good. I think we're still going to think about going to a different setup. But for now, this should work perfectly fine. Okay, we're using the bracket from the parent mounting bracket to mount the oil cooler. But yeah, backstory on these. Katie got me these for Christmas. Maybe? Christmas? Birthday? Christmas, I think. Got them powder coated by my buddy Jay. And then realized they didn't send me any of the wiring harness. And we got to put an oil cooler there instead anyway. So, I love you, babe. Alright, so another part of you building your own oil cooler, you don't really know how to mount it. It doesn't come with mounting besides this kind of stuff. So I got super lucky with this Perrin, the horn bracket. It matches up literally perfect. And then we just went and got some aluminum, cut it, and we made ourselves a nice little oil cooler bracket right here. You should paint this, but at the same time, fuck cares. So we're just going to clean this up and then get this mounted back up and then start ready to run lines and get going on it. Honestly, it would have bugged me if we didn't do it. So they're black now. Oh, whatever, dude! Well, you really can't get much tighter than this. Especially with your overflow tank here. It's basically underneath. It's definitely an interesting setup, to say the least. But lines are fed. We just gotta tighten these down all the way, and then once we get everything attached with the oil cooler as well, we just gotta clean these lines up and get them tight, so we're not gonna run into any issues with hitting anything that shouldn't hit. This side's not really an issue. It's just the one closer to the pulley here. Well, you can probably guess what's going on by the look of my face right now, but everything that I said yesterday backfired. Once again, you get what you pay for. Started it up yesterday, no leaks, everything was good. Drove it home, seemed great. Drove to work this morning and I'm smelling oil pretty good. I'm like, I don't know, maybe that's just how it's going to smell now. I don't fucking know. How would I know? So I went to work and didn't think anything of it. Walked out to go back to my car and had a bunch of oil on the ground. And it's fucked. Completely fucked. So both O-rings in the plugs here, gone. Like, completely destroyed. I want to see if I can find them. Yep, look at that. Both O-rings completely disintegrated, split right in half. So I had oil coming from these two. No, just this one. Even though this O-ring was shot too, oil is pouring from this one. I'm pretty sure I'm seeing this right here. Yep, that's the other O-ring. So pretty much every O-ring on any of these fittings completely shot. Wanna know why? Because you buy cheap shit, you get cheap shit. So we are currently taking it apart and reassessing this entire thing, which sucks. But I'm really glad it rained yesterday, and I'm really glad I saw those, because I probably wouldn't have opened up my hood if I didn't see that. And then I would have blown my car up. Probably not, I would have pulled over. But, so back to square one. You can basically piece one together for a fraction of the price, and it's just as good quality. It's gonna do the exact same thing. Okay, so going back to the oil cooler from the beginning, we obviously wanted to cut some corners with some cost, and with that always comes some consequences, some, you know, it'll work, it won't work kind of situations. And what happened to us is it didn't work as perfect as we wanted to. The core itself was great, the lines awesome, but the sandwich plate that came with the whole kit here, no bueno. The O-rings were no bueno. Basically, I drove it 30 miles and the O-rings completely disintegrated. I had oil everywhere. One of my headlights is out now because of it. My horn's all messed up. I had to clean this up like crazy. There was oil everywhere. No bueno. So sometimes when you do these things, you gotta expect that. It obviously is still a quarter, not even, maybe a third of the price of if you were gonna go with these one of the higher brand name kind of deals. But we had a solution. We're still using the core. We're using the lines. We're using the one sandwich plate that had to get over in between the thermostat, which is what I'm showing you now. Basically, I've been sticking with the Sousa here. This is the brand that the sandwich plate came for. Yeah, the sandwich plate and the thermostat both are made by Sousa. These are made in America. A little more reliable on when you're using your car like this. I mean, high heats like that, you can't really mess around. We learned the hard way, but luckily, no damage was done to the car. I noticed it right when it happened. Didn't you know? No integrity loss to the engine at all. So basically what we had to do, we still had to piece some things together, and you can see right away, these are the plugs that you get with them. You have to buy them separately, unfortunately, but still, these were 11 bucks a piece. This was 100 bucks, so if you piece all that together, you're about $250 for the whole thing, which is still a third of the price of these bigger ones, for like Perrin and Mishimoto and stuff like that. If you have the funds and the availability to just go and pay for the more expensive one, just do it. It probably will give you way less headaches than they did for us, but this is the route we went with, and I feel good about it. Nate feels good about this now. So you can see with these O-rings, they have actually somewhere to sit. There's a groove right here that the O-ring will sit, and this will just be flush up to it, and the O-ring will actually perform the way it's supposed to. The O-rings on the other one was just, they literally disintegrated. It was terrible. All right, so as you see, all the stock thermostat and oil coolers out. What you're gonna have to do is find a fitting to basically connect these two coolant lines, because you're not gonna be using those anymore. It's gonna bypass over this. So we found this random fitting that Nate had. It's actually perfect because this side's a little thicker and this is a little thinner, and that's exactly how these coolant lines are. So you're just gonna take this, and we're gonna do one at a time here. Dripping it out of my hands here. All right, so we're gonna shove that little bastard down here.
Screw it. Okay, that works too.
Boom. It's like right there. Oh yeah, I'm good.
There you go.
So you might just need a little oomph there to get over there, because it's obviously a little thicker than it was before. There we go.
You can do it.
A little stubborn.
There you go.
Boom.
That's good though. You want it to be tight.
Yeah, definitely good. I'm gonna go like this. So obviously we had to move it over here so we can connect it, and then after that we could push it through. Basically, obviously needs to just get over that lip there, so we should be all set here. That fitting's hopefully, I mean,
It's good.
I think it's great. So that's what it's going to look like at the end there, with your coolant lines just tied together.
Yeah, just try to get them out of the way. This is just a piece of foam there, so
Yeah.
it should just push against there. That should be good.
Sweet. Piece by piece here, oil cooler core, the lines. You can buy that whichever way you please. This is the way we did it for us. This is the sandwich plate that will go on the bottom, and then this thermostat goes right on top, just like that. That's actually pretty close to what it's going to look like. This bolts into the car. So this is the piece that we were waiting on for a little bit. This is actually a Subaru genuine part. This is basically called a oil cooler delete plug. So it is one-sided threaded. It needs to go a specific way. You can't just go. So the way we just did it was we screwed it on Nice and easy. Flipped it. Obviously, if it stops, that's the wrong side. So it does go one way, and I probably just missed it. All right, so we'll start with that. That's your first step. And that goes nice and easy in there. And I believe this will be a 24 mil, just like the stock one. We'll obviously put links in the description for all these pieces that you're going to need. All right, so once you tighten that down, don't crank it too hard. It doesn't take too much to get it tight. First piece after that is this is the Sousa sandwich plate. Put the link in the description. It's got the O-ring on the bottom here. We're going to put it so obviously the Sousa points out our way. And that goes just like that. So this is the piece that comes with it. This screws in. You're going to need the M20 by 1.5. That screws right into the oil cooler delete plug that we just installed. Oil cooler delete plug is a 24 mil. You're going to need a 1-inch socket, deep socket, for the Sousa part here. We're going to make it nice and snug. Now we're going to do the same exact thing here. Obviously, pretty hard to mess that up. O-ring on the bottom, nothing on top. We got a final product, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I'm feeling good about it, that this is the last time we're going to have to mess with this. Everything is in its proper place, proper setup, and I don't know, man. I think it's time for a drive. We'll see what's going on. Okay. Glad we caught it right before we left. We gotta clean this engine bay. Probably if we read the instructions, maybe not. We didn't check. There's 2 plugs in with the first sandwich plate from Sousa, and it's just if you wanted to add temp sensor lines later on. We forgot to tighten them. It's a what, 4.5 Allen key? 4.5 Allen key. So when we started it up and we thought it was looking good, I was seeing some oil coming from the bottom. So originally we thought O-ring wasn't sitting well, or there was something, whatever, it wasn't tight enough. Went through like 4 or 5 different taking it off, taking it out. Oil. There's oil everywhere. I'm glad I grabbed the quart of oil because we lost about a quart of oil. So before you get this whole thing assembled, make sure those plugs on the sides, you can see them. There's still a lot of oil. Don't even show it. There's little two plugs on each side that you're gonna need to tighten before you go on with everything. And we checked it now. Those are tightened. Everything is tightened now. No more leak. We went through a lot of oil. Whatever. You learn. It's messy. It was the messiest, probably the messiest this thing on this car. This whole entire, I want this thing to be done. I just want this to work because this has been a complete mess. But now we're going to go for a ride and see how it holds up. Boys, we did it. Everything's good. Oil temp hasn't not reached over 200 degrees, so that's dope. We washed the car, we washed the engine bay, no more smoke, no more burning. It's actually looking pretty fresh. And we're now celebrating the only way the boys know how to. The old Impossible Whopper from Burger King. And?
Hell yeah.
Do it right and do it for Dale.
Hell yeah.
Subscribe, leave a comment, give a thumbs up, do all good stuff. And then, thank you. Come again. Love you. Bye.